You are watching Rehab for the Soul Unscripted. Well, let's just get into it, guys. The topic for today, I had a very interesting question from a client this past week, and we started talking about the difference between what gets you sober and what keeps you sober. Do you ever wonder that? Right? Because it's different. What gets you sober isn't going to be the same thing that keeps you sober. So, without further ado, what is the answer to that question? Well, what gets you sober and what keeps you sober is the difference between motivation and inspiration. Okay, so that's today's topic, motivation and inspiration. What's the difference between the two? So, let's start with motivation. Motivation. Everybody's always like, you got to get motivated, man. You got to get into the gym and get motivated. You got to be motivated. What's your motivation? Motivation is great. But what motivation really is motivation is a force outside of self that causes you to take action. Okay? Motivation is a force that occurs outside of self that causes you to take action. So what does that mean? Well, a lot of things can be used as motivation, right? So for example, like going to the gym, maybe you want to look better, right? That's physical, that's on the outside. So you're motivated initially to go to the gym and work out or eat healthier or take action in some type of way. When we're talking about rehab or getting sober or getting into treatment, a lot of the times people are motivated. Anytime you're motivated by something, it's from outside of self. And that's the trick here to remember. Anytime you're motivated to do something, the force is coming from outside of you. All right? So motivation, when it comes to sobriety, usually clients will enter treatment or people will be motivated to get sober because A, they're in physical pain from the drugs or withdrawal or tolerance, right? So that physical pain. B, what do we know about our clientele these days? 70 to 80% are usually court ordered, right? So that's the motivation. The legal system is motivating them to get treatment or get sober. Or if it's not that, it's family members that are motivating them to get sober. So they're putting pressure on, like family saying, I can't take it anymore, please get sober, I can't do this with you anymore. Significant others are leveraging the emotional pressures of that. So it's important to remember when we're talking about motivation, that's a force, again, that's coming from the outside that's causing you to take action. So motivation is usually what will get you sober. Now, everybody can find motivation to do something, because this is the kicker. Everybody gets sober. Not everybody stays sober. It's kind of like starting that diet. What are you doing? Everybody can get started, but what causes some people who are successful in their goal setting, right? What causes some people to stick to it in the long haul? You know, what causes them to, quote unquote, stay motivated long term? Well, this is where, this is the little known secret to this piece that I want to teach you guys that you're not going to find anywhere else, okay? That's why Rehab for the Soul, Unscripted, Recovery Concepts and Consulting, hit us up if you haven't. What causes people to stick to their decision? Well, motivation is very short-lived. You cannot depend on motivation to keep you through in the long haul. Motivation will not keep you sober. Motivation will get you sober. It will not keep you sober. What will keep you sober? Inspiration. Inspiration will keep you sober. Well, Miss April, what's the difference between motivation and inspiration? Well, I'm so glad that you asked. Inspiration, in spirit, okay, inspiration is a force that comes not from the outside, but from the inside. It's a force from the inside that causes you to take action, Okay, so you could essentially say that maybe inspiration is self-motivation. So the energy or the force that's driving you is coming from inside of you and not out on the outside, like motivation. So where does inspiration come from? Well, you know me, I like to break those words down, right? Inspiration, the root word spirit is technically the root word. Inspired, if you are inspired by something, it's touching your soul. When we're talking about spirit, spirit is another word for soul. And so when we take that word inspired in soul, if we are in soul, we are in what? In alignment, in spiritual alignment. Guys, I'm going to pound this word into your head so many times. I mean, it's going to be trendy. Got alignment? Hashtag. So that's inspiration. It's the force that comes within you that keeps you going, that you want to continue to do this because it feels good to do that. It feels good emotionally. You start to live your life because it's authentic to who you are. When you are inspired, you are in spirit, meaning you are in soul. And so there are very few people, it does happen. People do decide to get sober because they are inspired. And that's authentically the way you ideally would want it to happen. You want people to get sober on their own terms, not yours. And I'm talking to family when I say this. I'm talking to courts. I'm talking to basically fucking society as a whole. Quit telling people to stop using drugs and alcohol. That's none of your business. Worry about your life, okay? Let people do what they want to do on their own terms. Because the minute you start to force somebody to do something, we don't like that shit. And when I say we don't like that shit, I mean all of us. Screw the label of addict, alcoholic. Nobody likes to be told what to do because it's violating what we feel in spirit is to do. And sometimes being in spirit, drug use and drinking is part of that. That's part of somebody's path. So when you start meddling in somebody else's business and telling them how they should walk their path and what path they should walk and if their path is right or their path is wrong, that's some bullshit because you need to stay on your path. You don't know what's right or wrong for somebody. And the minute you do that, you are, not only are you screwing up with somebody else's path, but you're getting off your own. And if you mind your own business, mind your own path, and don't worry about what anyone else is doing on their journey because it's their journey. Of course you're not going to understand it. And that's the problem with Facebook and social media. Everybody's on there trying to understand everybody else, and you can't. It's impossible. When what you really need to be doing is understanding yourselves, and all social media is doing is distracting you from looking at you, and you're looking at everybody else, and then you start comparing and contrasting and all this excessive shit, and I should be here because this person's here, and I should have this much money, and I should have this many kids, and I should have this job by now. No, you're on your own path. And when you are inspired, not motivated, but when you are inspired, that is when everything falls into place. That's it. That's it. Motivation can lead to inspiration. Motivation can get you sober, but inspiration keeps you sober. I'm going to end with this, guys. When an egg is cracked from the outside, life ends. When the egg is cracked from the inside, life begins. All right, you know what I say. It ain't perfect, but it's some rock and roll. And if you have not subscribed to our channel, Rehab for the Soul, please do so. Subscribe to our channel and be sure you're hitting the bell next to the subscribe button so that you can get notifications when all of this awesome material is uploaded.